Jon Jones has decided to retire, and now Tom Aspinall is the undisputed heavyweight champion. Um, when I first heard that, we didn't know about the criminal charges, right? Which is a misdemeanor. We'll get to that. But we didn't know about the criminal charges, any of that stuff, the hit and run and fleeing the scene and all that garbage. We didn't know. So when I heard Jon Jones retire, I'm like, okay. A lot of fans are gonna be mad at Jon, right? You guys are mad at Jon for holding up the division. He screwed over Tom Aspinall. I get all that. Your anger or your frustration shouldn't be with Jon. I'm not defending Jon terribly. Clearly, he's outside the octagon has some flaws. I'll put it that way. Has some flaws, to say the least. Not defending him as being a good human being. I will defend him for his skill set inside that cage. Whenever I say a good thing about Jon, it's always either about training or his time inside the octagon. Never about his personal life. That I don't defend. So the anger comes from him holding up the division, right? And Tom Aspinall has been waiting for his shot, and it's holding up the division, and Tom's this interim champ, and Jon needs to fight, and we heard they agreed to the fight. Again, your frustration shouldn't be at Jon. He's literally doing what's best for himself. No matter if you like it or not, he's like, all right, the UFC is going to let this ride. Fuck it. I'm going to keep going with this. Let's do it. And the UFC brass, and it's not just Dana. This isn't picking on Dana. It's just the UFC brass allowed him to get away with this. In different cases, Henry Cejudo, certain guys, GSP, there's certain guys, even Khabib, when his father died, remember he said he was retired, and the UFC kind of kept pushing him to come back. But they move on pretty quickly. We've never seen it, and that's how good Jon is. And especially it's the current status of the heavyweight division. They need Jon. So the UFC was willing to kind of do something out of character and just let him kind of dictate when he fights, which is insane. I'm with you guys. It's so frustrating. But the UFC has the power to go, dude, this is the date. And we're talking a year ago. After beat Suragan, they should have went, cool, great job. We let you fight Suragan, an easy matchup for you. You kind of waited till Francis to leave. We gave you Suragan, and then we gave you freaking Stipe, right? Like, these are two cupcake matchups for you. This is so easy for you. And you've made money, cool. Now we scratch your back. You scratch ours, right? Now, here's the date. We need to fight Tom Aspinall. And if he goes, nah, I'm just not ready, I went, all good. Take your time, but we're going to strip you of the belt. Jon's been stripped before. It's never really affected him, but this is a UFC issue, not a fighter Jon Jones issue. I'm not on board with the consensus that Jon's scared of Tom, that Jon's scared of Francis. I know it's fun to say, and it builds up Tom and stuff like that. I know, and I can see how you guys come to that conclusion. I don't think it's a matter of that. I think this fight, and I don't think Dana lied to us either. I think Jon held out for a certain amount of money, and the UFC, after negotiations, after pretty bitter back and forth, which is maybe reason why this took so long, the UFC finally agreed to the amount that Jon wanted. And this is all reported by Ariel Helwani, the best in the business. When he's on record, you can take it to the grave. So let's say Ariel's correct on this, which I think he is. The UFC granted Jon the amount of money that he wanted to fight Tom Aspinall. Dana says this fight's basically done. To be exact, he said this fight is done. It's going to happen. Despite whatever you guys think about Dana, I don't think that's Dana, playing behind the scenes and forcing Jon's hand. I literally think this fight was agreed upon. Even Tom, leaked some info about it. Jon, then Dana says it. So you get the whole UFC brass behind it. I think this was meant to happen. I really do think this was supposed to happen this year. I think they were kind of waiting for the TV right deal stuff to get figured out, which is figured out. They just haven't announced it yet. And then this was going to get announced. But then we find out unexpectedly to Dana and the UFC that Jon's like, I'm out. I thought that's weird to go this whole time and then just dip out. Again, I don't sign on that he's scared of Tom. And then you get the police report. Now, do we know when this incident happened, Chin? Was it in February?
Yeah.
So I think that was what probably Jon's main concern was seeing how that was going to kind of play out. And once this got announced and the UFC became privy to it, Jon was like, oh shit, not only am I holding up the division and he's getting so much flack for it, but now this police report comes out. So the UFC's sure as fuck not going to announce a fight with this lingering. So Jon and Dana, I don't want to go that far. I think Jon was like, all right, best thing to do is until this gets settled, I'm going to retire and Tom can fight. If you're a Jon fan, this is, I can't believe I'm saying this, not the legal stuff, but Tom fighting Jon, whether it's Almeida, whether it's Cyril Gane, whether it's Alex Pereira, whoever, either of those three, that's who's going to be, right? Jon having the ability to watch Tom more is actually an asset for Jon. I think when the allegations came out, I think that you're still going to get even more so a Jon Jones Aspinall fight now. I didn't take this as, oh my God, it's over. I thought, oh, we're still going to get the fight, but it's just going to be a little longer. And now Jon's not going to get the backlash for holding up the division. So in Jon's eyes, and he's been through this how many times now? In Jon's eyes, it's like, all right, let's wait for this court stuff to figure itself out. And then Tom's going to fight, knowing Tom maybe twice before he fights Jon. And that just lets Jon download more information on Tom, because Tom is an absolute monster. And he's had how many fights in the UFC? He's undefeated, starches everybody, right? But we still don't know much about him. He's had maybe a cumulative time in the octagon, 10-ish, 12 minutes. You know, he's starching everybody. So we don't know a ton about him. Now, we think he's the best heavyweight on the earth. We think. We don't know. We know a lot about Jon. We know a ton about Jon. We knew a ton about Stipe. We knew a ton about insert DC or any of these heavyweights. You don't know really how good Tom is. We assume he's this monster. We've never really seen him get put in difficult situations. We've never really seen him get dragged into those later rounds. We've never seen him get taken down. We've never seen how he responds after losing a round. We don't know. We don't know.